this process to really go, because to give chance for peace. Because, you know, if we are targeting at this time the president of Sudan, and in the other hand, we ask him really to facilitate the process, sometimes it's difficult. That's why that is the position of the African Union. And this is clear. We know the African Union now will send mission to the Security Council, once again, to explain to the Security Council why we want this process just really to be deferred for 12 months. That is the position.
But the problem will not be solved. What happens after 12 months? You still have
I think the most important to ask is what might happen in the meantime. Because if we have these 12 months, it means that we have time really for the deployment of UNAMID, for the peace process, for the, and even the government of Sudan is now in the way they are preparing the election, the democratic election, maybe in June or July. So just to allow really all this package to be implemented on the ground. That's why I think it is important for us to have this 12 months.
Okay, let's take another major problem in Africa, which is the Congo, which is the DRC.
Yes.
The Congo is a huge country. It is almost as big as the United States. It has 9 neighbors, which means that you have anything that happens in the Congo affects 9 other countries in Africa. And this is by far one of the richest countries in the world.
Yeah,
there is
right.
no doubt that Congo, along with Brazil, is one of the top rich countries in the world. And yet, it is in the middle of disaster. Everybody is killing everybody else. And the UN has a deployment, which is, I don't know, 10 or 15,000 people, but in an area the size of the United States.
Yes.
And so quite obviously, the UN cannot resolve the problem of the Congo. How is the African Union going to resolve the problem of the Congo?
Yeah, once again,
it's your
African
problem.
Union is not alone. And as you told, the UN has deployed a very, very big peacekeeping operation in DRC. Actually, African Union is not present in DRC. We don't have a peacekeeping operation there because the UN is already present there. Before the UN, it was a peacekeeping operation by France, which was in DRC. But what I can say, as you told, this country is really rich with cobalt and gold and diamonds. That's why this country attracts all those foreign neighbors and outside foreigners also, because of this richness. They all want to accaparate, to have their hand on these resources. So now what we are doing within the African Union, we try also to take part in facilitating the peace process, and there are also some positive developments which have been reached so far, because since last year, after the meeting which has been held in Nairobi, organized by the UN, but the AU attended this meeting with the regional community such as SADC and the ECAS, the regional community in Central Africa. So they reached an agreement, and in this agreement, all parties in the east part of Kivu, they agreed already to go for peace. I don't give you what are the details of the agreement, but there is already this positive achievement. One of the positive achievement is also the fact that the leader of the rebel, named Kunda, Loro Kunda. He has been arrested. So now we can say that the rebels are now weakened, and after this agreement, we can see already that there will be a better future for this country.
Quite clearly, Africa has more than a fair share of problems. Because I don't know why you have so many problems, but it is the intensity of problems in Africa is greater than the intensity of problems elsewhere. But at the same time, we find that the African countries are coming together very, very visibly. The African Union is much stronger and much more united than the Organization of African Unity in the past.
Yes.
And so the decision-making in the African Union is more coordinated, whether it is for military deployment or whether it is for diplomatic initiatives. I do not quite understand how is it that on the one side you have so many problems and on the other side you have so many solutions. But there's something happening in Africa which we don't understand as outsiders. But Africa is emerging, is coming together, and is emerging as a force, perhaps because it has so many problems. But what is your view on this?
Thank you, Professor, because you give us really a lot of courage when you say that we are stronger now. You know what? We have a lot of problems, definitely, and we know which problem. The list is very long. It is not only the scourge of conflict. We have also the legacy of colonization and slavery and structural adjustment damage in Africa. We have a lot of problems, social problems, unemployment, malaria, HIV/AIDS, and so on. The list is really long, and the list of root causes of this problem also are long. But we are not desperate. We have to take our own responsibility. That's why our African leaders in 2001 and 2000, they decided really to transform the Organization of African Unity to be more integrated and to be able to tackle these problems. That's why now within the African Union, we have the architecture of peace and security we have established. Within this architecture of peace and security, we have our own Peace and Security Council. We also have our early warning system. We have also a structure named Panel of the Ways, which is entitled to make reflection on mediation and on preventive diplomacy. We are on the way to establish what we call the the ASF. It is the standby force, African standby force. And this is expected to be established in 2010. It means that we will establish brigades in the north, in 5 parts of Africa, brigades of about 3,000 and 5,000 soldiers, and they will take part on peacekeeping operation at the early stage of the conflict. That's all what we have within this architecture of peace and security. As I told you, we have to take our own responsibility. It's not only in the area of peace and security and political area, we are also take our responsibility in economic area. For example, at the level of the regional economic communities, we have 8 regional economic communities in Africa. the ECOWAS, the ECAS, the SADC in the south, COMESA in the eastern part, in the northern part we have the CENSAD, and they are working for the economic integration